Welcome back to a second part video of how to install a Buyer's Snowdogg HD snowplow. We've already in the first part installed the plow mount on this truck. It's just, you can't see it. Well, actually you kind of can right there, but it's hidden from the plastic piece on the bottom that we still have to cut away. But now what we're going to be doing in the second part of the video, guys, is going over the wiring and how to install it on the truck. Stay tuned. All right, so this is the wiring for the truck, guys. The truck side of the plow anyways. This does not have the wiring that goes through the firewall, and it also does not have the wiring that is on the plow itself. So just keep that in mind. If this doesn't look like a whole lot of wiring, it's not. But what it does come with is it comes with instructions in there, as well as headlights adapter. Our truck is dual halogens, so it's not LEDs in the front. You do have to order the correct headlight adapters for them. That's what's over there. And then we've got the plow wiring over here. Now, looking at the instructions and then looking at this, it can kind of get confusing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to unravel this and lay it all out on the truck, or sorry, on the ground, so that you can get a better idea before it goes in the truck where everything is going. Poof! So there you have it. We've got the control harness wiring right here, also known as the truck side wiring. Now this might look just as confusing as anything else. Conveniently, there is a great map in the instruction book. I will show it to you in a little bit. But once people get the wiring out, they kind of get overwhelmed sometimes because the instruction booklet has a lot shorter wires on the diagram than what is illustrated. So anyways, I've done enough of these plows that I didn't have to really look at it too much. I know that the relays always have the hots going to them. It's not the negatives. So starting at the bottom here, this would be where your battery is. So you've got your negative and your positive. Your positive goes to the relay. There's other wires that go to the relay. I'll go over that in a second. And then the other big red cable that goes to the plug that would plug into your plow, it goes to the other side of the relay. That way, when you push the switch or controller of your plow to lift, it gives a signal to the relay, it gives power to the plow motor, and it also opens up solenoids and whatnot in order of allowing it to lift. Anyways, the negative also in turn goes to this plug because you have to ground out your motor. Up here is going to be inside your cab, so at some point this wire is going to pass through your cab into your interior. That white plug on the end is the connection for your controller, and that is a connection for a key on power. So when the truck is not running, you have your key, there would be no power going to the controller, that way your battery doesn't die. When the truck is on with a key, then you would have a live power going to that one right there. So how do I know where these wires are all going, these little guys? Well, a lot of them are labeled, some of them are not. So it's pretty self-explanatory. If we start at the top, here's the wire, and on this white, this is where it says to switch the power. So it's a switched power that gets connected. Over here, this one says it's a to relay harness. Well, the relay harness is still over there, so that's why it's not plugged into anything. This one here says to ground right there. So that's pretty self-explanatory. We're gonna ground it to either the truck frame or another heavy duty ground other than the battery. These ones were not labeled. So it's pretty self-explanatory as to where they go to because this is part of the kit. This is how you're going to be turning on and off your relay, is these signal wires. One of them will be a signal of some kind, one of them will probably be a constant of some kind, and then when it trips the relay, it allows these two to pass power through to your plow. So that's the wiring in a nutshell right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get it in the truck, and then we'll move on to the next set of wires over there. So before just tossing this in wherever the heck you want, you do have to find somewhere that you're going to pass the wire through for the controller through the firewall. Now, you do not have to drill normally. Usually there's going to be a grommet somewhere hidden that you can usually drill into. I found two on this one, We got this one right here that has one wire passing through it. And then we got a big one way down there. I don't think you can see it. Yeah, you can. It's kind of rounded right there. And it's actually already got some auxiliary wires that someone else has added to this truck going through it. So I'm gonna take a look if that is accessible and if we are gonna use that as the path for passing the control wiring through the firewall. All right, so the first bundle of wires is in. So what did we do? We got the negative running to the negative terminal. We got the positive. I just haven't hooked it up, but it will be going to the positive there. I had to pop this off to run wires. These are just sitting here. Now, I've got a ton of zap straps in that black bag over there. I'm gonna be zap strapping stuff up like crazy, but what you're gonna find is don't do it until you're done, because you're gonna be running other wires possibly in the same areas. So just save that to the last step. I had to move my coolant overflow out of the way. It just involved 3 bolts in order to get to where I was gonna drill into the rad support for the relay. Those wires are all hooked up, ready to go. And we've got the excess wires kind of draped over here. So what are they? Well, that is going through the grommet into the cab. And these 2 wires are the ones that I talked about earlier. One's gonna be a ground, and this one says it goes to the relay harness, the red one. So the black one, I just sanded down where the radiator overflow goes. So the black one we're gonna connect there. This one's gonna go into the red one's gonna go into the relay harness. Now, why do I have it just hanging here? I don't know if I wanna have all this excess black cable in the engine compartment or in the cab. I have it poked through. It's just hanging down here. There it is, right there. We got this. And this is the switched on red that is gonna be going to a fuse panel somewhere. But again, I just don't know if I want this connected, the excess spooled up here, or if I want it spooled up hidden under the dash. So I just have it draped right now. So now what we're gonna be moving into is the next chunk of wiring. And this has to do with your signals, everything to do with your headlights for the plow, everything like that. I have it all laid out. Again, there are instructions that come with it. It's just right there. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got the one main harness. This plug goes to your plow. That's the relay. So you can have relays that you could change there in case your lights fail. And then this is going to be an adapter. This one's fairly generic. It's for Dodges and Fords, single headlights, F-150s and whatnot. And it's going to plug in there. Same thing over here. There's the generic plug there. It's going to plug in here. Now, what is specific to a 2017 and up Ford is the chunk of wiring there and the chunks of wiring there. And the reason being is that this truck has dual headlights, one in the bottom, one at the top. And those relays, I guess the relay, but these are gonna turn off, from my understanding, the bottom lights and keep the top ones on or something like that. Something's gonna happen. Anyways, this is fairly easy, self-explanatory in my opinion. The one issue that I am seeing on this truck, the first thing that it said to do was take off the bumper. Great, I got it back on from when I was installing the mount, but not a big deal. If I have to take the bumper off, I will. It's also saying that I have to take off the grille in order to remove the lights. On the driver's side, I have tons of room to get to the back of the lights. They're just right down, where are they? Right down there. That's the back of the light right there that I'm just pointing at. These wires I can just swing out of the way. There you go, you can see a little better. But on the other side, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and remove the battery and possibly the battery tray and see if I can access it that way. I think it's gonna be a little quicker and easier. But there you have it. The first set of wires are in. One thing that should be mentioned is that there's a bunch of pigtails laying around, guys. There's an orange one, there's a black one. Everything's labeled. I'm not really gonna go over it right now. You can see the white tag on that, the white tag on the black one there. It's gonna tell you where it's gonna go, so just don't panic, calm down. The purple and brown wire there, it is explained in the instructions. I'm actually gonna quickly read them because I don't remember. It is, for the marker lights, you're gonna be connecting the brown wire, and the purple is gonna be going to your turn signals. That is the wiring for right now, so let's get it in. I'll show you what it'll look like. All right, I don't know if it's easier, but it seemed to be pretty easy. There's the headlights there. On the battery side, you just have to remove the battery. You got to remove the lower portion of the control, or sorry, the air box. And then I'll just show you quickly. You do have to drill into the frame in 4 spots to mount this metal bracket. And then the relay system just slides and clicks right in. So now it's nice and secure there. Once this goes back on this side, we will be good to go as far as well, as far as that mounting goes. But again, I'm still dealing with the rest of the wiring for the headlights. We have access here. We now have access on that side. I'll show you what I do. I've got the battery back in. I can show you everything that I did on this side. These 2 wires are gonna have to go all the way to the relay that I installed over there. I just haven't ran them under here. On this side, we've got just a hodgepodge of wires, but the good thing is that it's gonna get hidden once I put this into place. I'll tuck them all in nicely, but right down here, this is one thing that I don't like about this kit that Byers has, is that you've got to tee into the marker lights and the turn signals on both sides of the headlights. Now, there's other ways that you can do this. I hate cutting into factory wiring harnesses and splicing stuff in. I just despise it, but that's just me. Anyways, all these wires, there's a lot here because there's extra, there's 2 sets of lights on each side. So all these wires are going to get tucked into here. Now this gray, this gray and this orange here, sorry, you guys weren't even seeing this gray one and this orange one is the same as those 2, and they're eventually going to work their way over to, I believe, the ground right here. It pretty much says to attach them to any black wire. I'm gonna have to verify that. I'm probably gonna do a simple test once we hook it up to the plow, but for the time being, I'm just gonna leave them here. The red and white from the first harness that I put in plugs into the orange on the relay. And then you also have these pigtails, the purples. These ones were from the original relay, not the original, but the relay wiring harness, sorry, and they plug into the truck side harness. And this is going to be what, when all the wiring that I just put in goes into this box, it's going to be the signals essentially. So the one good thing is that if you have this backwards, you can just unplug these and put them the other way. Doesn't really matter. But what I do like about this is that it does get hidden quite nicely on the Ford underneath this reservoir. These wires hanging out are the same wires that I had hanging out already. We're about ready to button this back up. Well, it is already buttoned back up, but we're probably going to start putting the plow itself together before I start hooking these wires up, because I do want to test to see if before I hardwire them in, if it's actually going to function. And when you turn the plow lights on, the headlights, I believe the lower ones, turn off. That's all done. Now we're on to this big guy, and I moved the plow in the shop, the board, the blade, sorry. This is how it would arrive to your place, guys, is you're gonna have a crate come, and it's gonna come with some boxes in there. We've already had this lid off a couple times to get some stuff out of there, but I'm just gonna take this off and show you what it looks like. So here you have it. Now, please remember, I've already been in here and it's been stored outside. Normally everything would be dry, sealed boxes. Boxes wouldn't be ripped open like this, but we've had to rummage through here to find some parts that we needed for other portions of this build. I also wanted to verify when this got dropped off that it was complete, because I knew I wasn't going to build it right away. But this is how it'll come in the crate. I have it put down backwards, so we're gonna have to spin this around because it's gonna connect to the truck the other way, and that's gonna get bolted on to the frame here up front. So it does come with some instructions. I'm gonna go over them, and then I'm gonna go over with you just how to get everything buttoned up. One thing I should mention, guys, is that the wiring here took about 3 hours, but keep in mind that I've also been pulled away to answer phone calls and just deal with some other stuff. I'm not really just dedicating myself 100% to doing this. The plow mount that was attached to the truck took about 3 hours. The wiring to up to this stage took about 3 hours. And now what we're left with is, now that I have it all unburied here, we've got this to assemble and get it made into the truck, and then finishing the wiring. We still have the boxes for the lights in the truck and some other parts as well. So I'll pull those out and I'll go over with it all on the floor here. So here we go, guys. This is everything laid out. We got the headlights are in the box, controllers in the little box on top. We've got the headlight frame that we're gonna have to bolt on. We got some shocks and some shock brackets. Those are gonna be the main, nope, those are not the main pins. Those are gonna be pins for the, I'm not too sure which one. I think those are the main pins for the plow. We got springs hardware. We got flags on the side for, so you know the edge of the plow. Now, as you can see, guys, even if everything gets rained on in the crate, it is all sealed, it all stays dry. So that's something that all companies that sell plows do a really good job with. So one thing that I want to point out is that on the instructions, it's not very clear when you're looking at the imagery. The springs are going to connect up to there, but it actually looks like you're connecting them to there. And I was scratching my head because I was thinking, what good is that going to do? It's supposed to connect to the frame, but it just doesn't show it very good on the I guess the pictures on the instructions. But it goes to the top hole there, but then they're going to connect to these holes here on the side. Each spring is going to go there, but I'll show you on the video. Anyways, I'm going to get this attached to the frame, and we're gonna slowly put this together, and hopefully in a short time it's gonna be on the truck. And there we have it, guys. This is how to build, or it's the finished product actually, not really how to, but finished product of the plow bolted together. This really didn't take too much time. A couple things to mention. In the instructions, it does say to make sure that there is a gap between the springs of 30 thousandths of an inch. So that is important. And to make sure that all springs are gapped the same way. Besides that, it was fairly straightforward. I think the most time consuming part was me just being by myself, trying to line up the big pins to get put through there. Besides that, it went fairly smoothly. A little tip, at installation, when you guys are putting these on, don't tighten the two bolts down here. You can see one here and one here. Don't tighten them fully, because this pin, if it's not lined up properly, you won't be able to get it all the way through. So just put them on loose, put this pin in with the shocks, and then tighten those and drive them home. But besides that, this is it. It's finished as far as it being put back together. Now, getting it onto the truck is going to be a bit different because it's never been on this truck. So we're going to have to set a little bit of the height with this to match what it is on the truck, or the mount. I still have to cut some of the plastic away on the bottom of each side, or remove that bottom plastic piece altogether. Otherwise, and then a little bit of wiring. But what I want to do is I'm just going to pull the truck up, and we're going to plug it in, and we're just going to see if we have any headlights, turn signals, and stuff like that. So let's fast forward a little bit. We pulled forward, plugged it in, tested out the lights, finished up the wiring that was hanging out of the grill on both sides. I believe they were the gray and orange wires. And we've now got the plow on the truck. Everything operates as it should. The instructions in some parts were a little bit interesting. For instance, on this Ford halogen light system for a 2018 and up, the wiring became a little interesting, and I'm probably going to clip to a different video here, but you had to splice into the actual harness that came with Snowdogg with those orange and gray wires, and you had to cut in and add adapters, and I think it's really cheesy the way that it is. Now, that's because this truck has 4 headlights. Had you had a truck with only 2 headlights, then you wouldn't have that issue, and you would have only used the 1 headlight adapter. The reason you have to do that, and the reason you have to have the extra lights, is because when you turn on the plow lights, or sorry, the lights for the truck when the plow is hooked up, both these lights will turn off, and the plow lights, sorry, there we go, the plow lights will be the only ones that are running. So it is important to do that. One thing that wasn't on there was the front here to help stop the snow from spilling over, or I guess the other way onto the truck. Headlights all work. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please remember, like and subscribe, where you're going to learn more how-tos on all aspects of your snowmobile business. Take care.